Greetings again, and welcome to another class in mythology. Today we'll be exploring the world of Taoism. In order to understand Chinese philosophy, we really need to explore the world of the main philosophical ideas of Taoism, because Taoism has taken over many of the important functions of maintaining the mythology, the story of the gods and goddesses of China. So as we explore this world, let us get started. And beginning with the thesis, basically Taoism is a philosophy of China, teaching the importance of the balance with nature. Many of you know the yin-yang sign, as expressed up here in this very good example, which really means a balance between the male and female, or between all forces, to stay in tune with nature. And this is kind of the main idea of Taoism, and we'll explore this in some detail today. We'll be looking mainly at a description of Taoism, the influence of Taoism on Chinese medicine, the founder of Taoism, who is a man known as Lao Tzu, and then we'll talk about the gods and goddesses, and then finally a little bit about the importance of Taoism and the martial arts, just for general interest's sake, because I know you're all interested in something like that. So let's get started here. Basically, we can describe the yin with the following characteristics: soft, stillness, winter. Yin is the moon, the feminine again, so all these are descriptions of the yin. The yang can be associated with summer, with the hard, the logical, as compared to intuitive. So all these words that you see on the screen basically could describe the idea of the yang. Taishan, a couple images here. Taishan is one of the sacred mountains of China. There are 5 sacred mountains in China. Basically the idea is, if you really wanted to get in tune with everything, you should climb the 5 sacred mountains of China. The one that is associated with Taoism is called Taishan. You'll notice on the screen there I have 6,660 steps. That's actually what there is to climb up to the top. I've made this ascent and descent, and it's quite an experience. You have to stay overnight at the top and watch the sun come up. That's kind of Chinese tradition. This mountain has been climbed since the time of the first emperor, 220 BC, by the Chinese, and today it's very well established. It's not a hard climb, it just takes a long time. So just for your information, here's some of the steps going up. You can get an idea of Taishan. Taishan is about an 8-hour train ride out of Beijing, an overnight trip. You start up in the morning, climb all day, and then basically come back, stay overnight up there, and then come back down the following day. Again, just some images so that you can see what we're talking about. The sacred mountain of Taoism, all right? So basically, from the Tao Te Ching, everything arises from an essentially unexplainable source. This is the Tao. And you can see here from the little verse from the Tao Te Ching, the idea that everyday life is really just as important as being holy, dressing in religious robes. Work clothes are just as good as religious clothes in terms of experiencing the Tao. The Tao is kind of like a universal force. I think George Lucas picked it up pretty much in his movies in terms of the force. That is a very Taoist concept. This one, I'll let you read through this, but basically it's saying that water is a really good example of the way you should act of Taoism. In other words, water flows freely. It's not pretentious. It always takes the lowest position. It doesn't try to be above everybody, but it has a lot of power. We too, like water, we should be humble, willing not to stand out, not to try to overpower everything. So a lot of good messages in this little cartoon here. I'll switch over to another version here, another page. So basically all things are, water supports all things. We should support everything too. So the point here is that water serves as an example of the way we as humans should act in our daily lives, not always trying to be superior, letting go of our ego, willing to take the lowest seat, for example. So Taoism is a great philosophy which has influenced Chinese for over 2,000 years. So the thinking of China later spreads to Korea and Japan. In Japan in particular, it gets associated with Shinto. The Tao is the way of the universe. It's not a god. There is no superior being in Taoism. It's just a life principle, a force. The Tao is sometimes called the path. Lao Tzu is given credit with starting it, much like Homer's given credit for writing the Iliad, quasi-historical. The importance of the Tao Te Ching can be seen in the fact that it's been translated, only the Bible has been translated more times than the Tao Te Ching. First published 2,500 years ago, and only 5,000 Chinese characters. Very short. And Lao Tzu advised only actions that are in accord with nature. In other words, you follow the natural, you don't be artificial in terms of life's choices. So qi becomes the important thing in Taoism. It's energy, basically, and it influences not only your life, but the universe and everything, and basically the qi flows through everything. It's particularly important in terms of the martial arts and also in Chinese medicine. What you need to do as an individual is try to increase your qi. It flows through our bodies in order to maintain good health and energy. We have to have a proper flow of qi, and the Chinese have come up with ways to make sure that the qi flows properly through your body. Wu Wei is just a terminology for letting go, basically letting this happen. Creative quietude, you've all experienced this, I'm sure. If any of you are musicians or artists, you'll know that you kind of have to get away and let the mind relax in order to create. It's called creative quietude, basically. And this happens according to Chinese thinking when you let your ego go. And Wu Wei is living a life above tension, let go. A very cute little cartoon book, if you will say. You can still buy it. It's called The Tao of Pooh. You've all heard of Winnie the Pooh. Pooh Bear is a perfect Taoist. He goes with the flow. Life is easy for him. One story, he's on a bridge looking over a very swift river with the waterfalls down at the end. He looks a little bit too closely and falls over the edge. Basically, he just floats, and he is then swept downstream. Well, all his very nervous friends like Eeyore are running along the stream yelling, "You're going to die, you have to get out of there." And Pooh Bear is basically lying flat on his back and looking up, and he says, "Wow, look at the pretty trees, look at the leaves, look at the sky." He's not paying any attention, he's just enjoying it. Right before he gets to the waterfall, there's a branch sticking out, and he merely grabs the branch and walks up the shore, and he says, "What is everybody worrying about?" That's just a kind of a silly story, but it illustrates letting nature, following your own path, basically. Let go. Bamboo is used in Chinese art, Japanese art a lot because it represents what we should be like in a way. Bamboo in times of adversity, like a high wind, a hurricane here in Florida, bamboo will basically bend and then come right back. And it represents the way humans should be. We should be aware that conflicts, hard times will happen, but we bend with it, and then we come back again. Unlike an oak tree that doesn't bend, and then during a hurricane, all the branches fall off. So bamboo, if you see bamboo in Asian art, you'll know it represents that willingness to let go. I'm going to just bring up on the slides a couple of passages from the Tao Te Ching. Just read through it and maybe try to speculate what this is meaning to you. So here we go. I'm not going to comment, just let you read here. If you see anything similar to Christianity, you're right on the button, because this is very much like the Beatitudes. You know, the meek shall inherit the earth, all that sort of thing. It's very, very similar to Christianity, actually. Being too stiff in life, being unwilling to give, basically leads to problems, according to this. So, what is Taoism, or what is it used for in the martial arts? Well, if you're in martial arts at all, you'll know you have to first breathe for about 10 or 15 minutes, relax, meditate, breathe normally, slowly. It's physical exercise. It can clear your mind so you better understand things. And a preparation for meditation, basically. And Tai Chi Chuan is one of the greatest things that we in America follow. Many people do that. Doctors recommend it particularly for older individuals in our society. Instead of lifting weights, do Tai Chi. It's very beneficial health-wise, keeps you limber, increases longevity. The monks then develop a more defensive form called Shao Kung Fu, so there's other forms that come out of Tai Chi. The movements are all basically the same, except some are speeded up, and they can be used for self-defense in terms of that. So we have certain consequences of the Tao. Again, the image is quite clear here. You can see the female is represented by the black, but within the female we have a bit of male. Within the male we have a bit of the female, and they entwine each other. One is useless without the other. That's the basic message of the symbol. Taoists basically would not be comfortable with a war of conquest. This can be seen currently in Chinese foreign policy. They tend to avoid situations will put them in conflict with other nations. They don't have any military bases overseas, for example. And if you're a libertarian, you'll love Taoism, because basically the idea is that the best government is no government, non-interference, basically, from the government. And the belief is that if one person is a Taoist and there's 200 people, eventually everybody will become a Taoist, because everybody will want to imitate this one person that such a good example, basically. Seems to be relaxed, calm, able to go along in life without getting completely bent out of shape. And of course, within Taoism, if it were followed completely, there would be no capital punishment. That would not be acceptable practice. So let's talk a little bit about Chinese medicine and the influence of Taoism. I have a little video clip here for you, which will kind of illustrate what's going on in a comical way in terms of Chinese medicine. So let's take a look at the video.
Hello, it's nice to meet you.
Yes, it is nice to meet you too. What do you do for a living?
I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner.
But you are not Chinese.
Not all Chinese medicine practitioners are Chinese.
Oh. So what does a non-Chinese Chinese medicine practitioner do?
I use a combination of acupuncture needles, herbal medicine, nutrition, massage, and exercise to help people feel better. Chinese medicine is thousands of years old and is used to treat many ailments, including allergies, cough and cold, back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, headaches, PMS, infertility, anxiety, depression, and much more.
Cool. I've been to Asian massage parlors. Is it like that?
No, not exactly.
I love massage. So did you have to go to an actual school for Chinese medicine?
Yes. After completing my undergraduate studies, I went to 4-year, 3,200-hour master's degree program. We studied biology, anatomy, physiology, chemistry, pharmaceuticals, 400 acupuncture points, 300 individual herbs, 200 herbal formulas, Chinese medicine theory, and Eastern nutrition.
I think my chiropractor does that.
Most chiropractors or medical doctors that do acupuncture have learned how to do it over a weekend course, whereas I spent 4 years with the sole purpose of becoming an acupuncturist. The doctor or chiropractor may stick you with needles, but they are not practicing Chinese medicine.
Cool. I saw acupuncture in a movie. Can you really paralyze someone like in Kung Fu Panda?
No.
I'm not sure I can believe in acupuncture. It seems like a lot of magic and hocus pocus. Do you believe in it?
I don't have to believe in it. It is a rigorously tested, thousands of years old, tried and true methodology of assessment and treatment. Do you believe in your Advil or Prozac?
Well, everyone uses Advil. I love Advil, but I hate needles. They're painful.
Acupuncture needles are very thin. Some are about as thin as a hair. When it is done by a trained expert, it can be a very comfortable and healing experience.
I've been having some weird pain and clicking in my elbow. Here, look at this.
I'd be happy to see you in my office. Call the number on my card and my receptionist will be happy to get you scheduled.
You have a real office like a doctor, with a receptionist.
Yes. I'm nationally board certified and state licensed. Some insurances even accept acupuncture. I've helped people avoid surgery, supported them through their chemotherapy and cancer treatments, and have treated thousands of patients in my career.
So can you take a look at my elbow?
Tell me first, what do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
Can you answer some legal questions for me right now?
No, I don't give away my services.
Me neither. I actually went to more school than most lawyers and I've also acquired years of clinical experience.
But it's just right here. Listen to this popping in my elbow. Is that normal?
I'd be happy to see you in my office.
Okay, so are you like really healthy? You must be one of those vegan people.
No, I am not a vegan. That is a great thing for some, but it is not directly related to Chinese medicine, nor is it necessary to be a good practitioner.
In that case, do you eat a lot of Chinese food? I love Kung Pao chicken. Alrighty then, I'm going to go to my chiropractor and get some acupuncture. Goodbye.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that rather tongue-in-cheek little cartoon video, but it has a lot of important information on it. Chinese traditional medicine not only would use methods to kind of get the qi flowing through acupuncture, other forms of getting that energy going. They also take advantage of nature, because that's what Taoism teaches, that everything basically comes from nature. So we have the use of a lot of natural plants. In other words, it's not a factory making pills, chemically tested. It's the result of thousands of years of experience based upon which herbs, plants, things would help you. Mixtures are put together normally in order to increase the flow of qi into particular areas of the body. If your body's too cold, for example, you take a mixture that would increase the heat of the body, and vice versa. Too hot, you take medicines to cool it down. It works particularly good if you have allergies or asthma or something like that. Excellent. Rather than antihistamines, I'll recommend them for you. Let's take a look at a real short video here about Chinese medicine, the writing of prescriptions. So let me show you this video now.
Chinese character for yin translates literally as the dark side of the mountain, while yang translates as the bright side of the mountain. Yin represents such qualities as cold and dark, being on the inside, being still and passive, and being underneath. Yang represents warmth and light, being active, being on the outside, and being above. Traditional Chinese medicine views the body in terms of yin and yang. A healthy person will have a dynamic balance between the yin and the yang aspects of their body. An unhealthy person will have some imbalance. Too much yin, and you will experience extreme cold symptoms. Not enough yin, and you will experience internal heat and lethargy. Too much yang, and you will have very full heat symptoms, while not enough yang, you will feel general coldness and lethargy. When your yin and yang are balanced, as in the case of Neon, who is in the final stages of her pregnancy, you are in an ideal state of health. Neon can look forward to this birth with confidence. The traditional Chinese medicine practices that have aided Neon during her pregnancy have been passed down through the ages in some of the world's earliest written works. Over 2,500 years ago, there was already in China a comprehensive medical journal, the first and most important classic text of traditional Chinese medicine.
All right. Again, I hope relatively short, but I hope you understood that basic concepts there. And you'll notice the doctor was continually touching the pulse. That's where your energy, main thing, the doctor can tell immediately what's wrong with you by doing that. He was looking at the eyes. Some Chinese doctors will only look at your tongue to see what's wrong with you. Others specialize in the ear. It's very interesting stuff. Okay, so basically then, the Tao has had this idea of the possibility of immortality. There's a search for immortality. We in the West, our alchemists basically searched for turning base metals into gold. That was the aim of, led to our chemistry. In China, the idea was to live long, so the search was for ways to make you live longer. And by the way, climbing the mountain that I showed you earlier, Tai Chi, you're guaranteed to live to be 100 once you've climbed it, so there you are. So the diet's important, and the idea is that at least 12 years by proper exercise, proper diet, and relaxing, you can, whatever you're genetically programmed to, you can increase that by at least 12 years. And, well, probably not true, but there's reports that Taoist monks have lived between 250 and 300 years. I'll take that with a grain of salt, right? So basically, acupuncture is the form that you saw in the little cartoon video. It's the insertion of needles. By the way, it does not hurt at all. The needles are extremely fine, and someone trained in the method, when they insert the needles, you feel no pain at all. It just is supposed to stimulate that particular flow of qi at that point. Particularly for treatment of pain, I'll give you one example. On a recent vacation, somehow I got up in the middle of the night and coughed when I was in a wrong position. I got a really severe back pain here. Went to basically a chiropractor who's a friend, no help. I could, you know, as one of those things where when you can't stand up quite straight, it takes a while to get up. Getting out of the car was a problem. I went in an hour and a half with an acupuncturist, massage and needles, and basically went out of the office, stood up straight, went to the car, got in, no problems. And I didn't have one problem after that. It does work, I can tell you that. Again, just a little video clip here about the use of herbal medicines. So let me show you that clip now.
For over 2,000 years, it has fueled philosophies and inspired research, shed light on the relationship between people and the world around us, and supported the health of entire nations. Once dismissed in the Western world as mere superstition, developments in modern science have revealed that there may be an underlying truth to the concepts of traditional Chinese medicine. Born in China around 1400 BCE during the Shang dynasty, Chinese traditional medicine is based on a rich legacy. The first evidence of medicinal practice in China can be found in oracle bones and tortoise shells engraved with Chinese characters that were used to treat members of the Shang royal family. The first book ever written introducing Chinese medical theory is called The Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon and was written in the 1st century BCE. The volume explains the relationship between the inner workings of the body and the universe, and how this relationship affects sickness. A second book, called The Treatise on Cold Damage Disorders and Miscellaneous Illnesses, was the first to group various illnesses into categories, as well as the first to outline the way in which philosophies from the Yellow Emperor's inner canon could be used in the formulation of drugs. Over time, the applications and methods of traditional Chinese medicine multiplied, and the philosophy spread across China, eventually spilling into the rest of Asia. Traditional Chinese medicine is a highly complex topic, based around a myriad beliefs. However, there are a few key philosophies around which all of Chinese medicine revolves. The most central concept of all is that of yin and yang, an idea which originated in the 16th century BCE. Yin and yang represent a universal balance and duality present in all things, from the movement of the stars and planets to bodily functions. Yin is characterized by dark, cold, and damp, whereas yang is characterized by light, heat, and dryness. In traditional Chinese medicine, maintaining a balanced relationship between yin and yang within the body is of utmost importance. Another highly important concept is known as Wu Xing, or the 5 elements. Where yin and yang may be classified as the concept of balance, Wu Xing highlights the impermanence and fluidity of all things. Wu Xing proposes that there are 5 elemental states to everything: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, and that there are 2 types of interactions between these states: generating interactions and overcoming interactions. In traditional Chinese medicine, the Wu Xing theory explains many interactions within the body, especially relationships between different organs. A third concept is that of qi, commonly referred to as life force or energy. In traditional Chinese medicine, there are 2 types of qi: qi that flows through the veins, and qi that exists in muscle and tissue. And all qi plays 5 roles: fulfillment of life processes, or the energy needed to live; providing warmth, or rather the heat needed to survive; providing defense, or immunity from disease; containment, or rather holding the body intact; and transformation, such as the transformations of food into energy, energy into blood and life force, and so on. Traditional Chinese medicine employs many methods of healing to restore a balanced yin-yang relationship within the body. A few of the most common practices include acupuncture, acupressure, moxibustion, fire cupping, tui na, gua sha, qi gong, and herbal medicines. Acupuncture is a method of using thin needles to stimulate various points along the body, known as acupoints, in order to encourage the flow of qi. Acupressure and moxibustion also use these acupoints. However, acupressure is a form of treatment where pressure is applied to these points. In moxibustion, the herb mugwort is placed on the skin at these acupoints and burned to provide heat stimulation. Fire cupping is a treatment that encourages blood flow within the body. A flame is placed within spherical glass cups to remove the air and create a vacuum. The cups are then placed along the body, creating areas of reduced pressure, encouraging blood to be drawn close to the skin. Tui Na is also known as Chinese massage, and is in essence a combination of massage and acupressure. Gua Sha is another method that promotes blood flow. In this practice, smooth stones or shells are scraped against the skin until red spots appear. Qi Gong is used to balance one's qi flow and is, in essence, a type of martial art similar to Tai Chi, mixed with awareness meditation, slow breathing, and controlled movement. The final practice is also one of the most well-known. Traditional Chinese herbal remedies have been used for thousands of years to treat various illnesses. Unlike Western medicine, where different ailments are prescribed a certain type of medicine, in traditional Chinese medicine practice, the cure prescribed is usually based on the practitioner's intuition. Common ingredients used in traditional Chinese medicine cures are mushrooms, camellia, chrysanthemum, ginger, ginkgo, ginseng, goji berry, along with countless other ingredients, both from plants and animals, many of which are now deemed cruel or unsafe to use. Traditional Chinese medicine has had a profound impact on Asian society and the world as a whole. Collectively, it was one of the first explorations by humanity into the study of science. Today, traditional Chinese medicine is practiced in almost every country around the globe, though it is most prevalent in China, Taiwan, and East Asia. Not only have the cures been central to the health of entire civilizations, but the philosophies of traditional Chinese medicine have greatly affected Asian culture and lifestyle. Though medicine has advanced greatly in the past 100 years, and Western medicine itself may be deemed more effective than traditional cures, the philosophies embedded in traditional Chinese medicine remain as potent, central, and applicable to humanity today as they were in the time of the Shang Dynasty. Therefore, as the study of medicine expands and evolves, it is important that we pause to remember the significant role that ancient concepts play in modern life.
All right, let's continue on with some ideas about Chinese medicine. One is called moxibustion. This is actually small little glass, well, they're just like little glasses basically, which are heated, and then they placed on usually the back or the arm, and then they give a certain suction which increases the flow of qi. In this idea, doctors are concerned with the whole person, not just one part of your body. Everything is connected, in other words. If you have a headache, for example, they don't give you a pill for your headache. They try to find out why you're getting headaches. It's treating. And then, of course, herbal teas are prevalent. You can go in a Chinese store and find, 40 to 50 types of teas, basically. So if we go more towards the idea of, we'll call mythology, we have, the Chinese have never had a kind of like a high god, like a religion that we in the West have. They have what we call immortals. The supreme deity was called the Jade Emperor, basically. And then we have all the immortals coming in. So this idea of immortality then transfers into mythological religious ideas, basically. And then if you go into a Chinese temple, you'll find images of all these important immortals. Lao Tzu's an immortal, for example. You often find statues of the Buddha. So they're basically important. Ancestors are important to the Chinese. So overall, though, the Chinese point to three main ways to immortality through alchemy, which is the search for medicines that will prolong your life, yoga, and then being merit. For example, a young lady was made immortal because as a young girl she had to walk like 12 miles every day to get a particular herb for her mother to help her mother. And she continued this for several years. It's a good act, it's called merit, and she then was made immortal from this point. Okay. So basically then we have this idea that the natural elements help us through any problem. Yoga is control of the breath. It's also found, of course, in India, in Hinduism, but it's important in Taoism also. And I mentioned about merit through good works, basically, so these immortals. So if you see statues in a Chinese store, or you go down, in a local area where there's an Asian presence, all the statues you see and that look Chinese, they're probably immortals. They're not one god. They're just many, many individuals that have achieved immortality through that. What you're seeing here basically is a Chinese Taoist temple. This particular one was just constructed before I got there, so it's brand new, and the colors are nice. I wanted to show you a few pictures of that, but you can get the general idea of the influence of China. This particular temple was not in China itself. It's in Malaysia, on the island of Borneo. So wherever the Chinese go, Taoism goes with them, basically. This actually, though, this was from the main Taoist temple in Beijing, and this would be an immortal, and the court around him are sort of deities, quasi-helpers to him, and basically, if you needed help with a particular problem, you would go to a particular immortal. For example, outside, there's a little sign that says, this guy is responsible for good health. So you basically make a little offering to this immortal to ensure good health. Back again, you can see the idea of the statues in a temple. All the different immortals are shown here. You can see there's just 10s, 20 different statues to different deities, very common in these temples. And then, of course, the importance of the serpent in all of mythology. We've talked about the idea that snakes are not considered evil in Asia, whereas in the West they are. So the snake and the dragon are related. They're both serpents. The dragon is a very positive sign in China. Snakes, dragons represent fertility. Therefore, they're a positive sign. And as you know from your readings, the creator deity or the creator of people in Chinese mythology is a woman that looks like a woman, but from the waist down she has the tail of a serpent or a dragon. She creates mankind. So you can see a different idea between Western thinking of the dragon and Eastern thinking of the dragon. And again, back to another immortal in Beijing, you can get an idea of what these creatures, these immortals look like based upon tradition and all their very weird looking helpers. Okay, well that completes the lecture. We'll tie this lecture in to a Chinese lecture on basic mythology, but I wanted to give you an idea of the influence of Taoism because with the arrival of Buddhism into China, there was a fear that the native stories, the traditional mythologies of the immortals would disappear. So the Taoists sort of took over the writing down of the mythologies, and they became associated with the stories. And so this is the Taoist tradition that preserves the mythological stories of China, not the Buddhist as they came in later. So we'll pick up on that in another lecture on Chinese mythology. See you soon.